sorry for him,
Let me know.
or what?
Okay, we up and running? Okay, it is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. We'll call a meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
Done.
Commissioner Committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
I don't have a whole lot again. Most meetings are postponed or canceled. So, that's all I got.
We having a meeting Thursday or not?
Well, I think that Public Works has
if we
something on there
can-
that we need to address, right there.
Pardon?
We have something on there for you all on Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
If we're coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah, well,
I guess if we don't need
we'll
to.
do that. We don't need to, yeah.
Do what?
There's two more things besides the bid opening on that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we're-
gonna possibly talk about any action for the COVID-19, and then there's the public works stuff, unless you can wait till next Tuesday. But if you're needing to get it done, I don't know if we're meeting for sure. If we-
Depends on if, it's all on Eric.
I didn't know I had that much power.
Don't let it go to
We
your
can
head.
probably, we can probably push it to Tuesday. Let me check. We're kinda, that work we need to get scheduled pretty soon, so it's a little time dependent, but I'll find out.
Okay. It's all on your shoulders.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything either, really.
Now, I have a policy group call today if the sheriff remembers to participate.
right?
And on Wednesday, I've got a bicentennial conference call at 3, and we've got our EOC briefing. And then commission meeting if Eric makes us, so, oh well. Okay, presentation by staff, consultants, invited guests, health department to discuss recovery plan for Cole County. Christie.
I'm gonna bring, I'll see if you guys wanna come up too. So the first thing I wanna do that we haven't got to, I haven't had the opportunity to do is to publicly recognize the staff that have been working on COVID-19 with me. There are a few others that are not here, like Chris White's been doing a lot of website stuff and other emergency response functions. Donna Seidel is our clinic manager, so she's been doing, whether it's deciding what we're gonna do within the health department, helping, working with the hospital. She's sort of been the hospital liaison, collecting the information from them about bed availability, vent availability, asking just general questions about testing, that sort of thing. Chesney Schulte is our communicable disease coordinator, and she's been functioning as our public information officer during COVID-19 too. And Jennifer Walken she was our worksite wellness nurse and worked in the clinic, but she's been taking on additional responsibilities with COVID-19 too. So these three ladies have been taking the lion's share of the work when it comes to all the contact tracing that the governor and Dr. Williams always talks about, talking to each and every case, getting their contacts, talking to each and every one of those contacts, making sure they have their quarantine orders, making sure they understand what's expected of them, calling and checking on them almost daily, if not daily, to see how they're doing with their signs and symptoms, to see when they can be released from quarantine, answering all kinds of questions. And then, of course, all the staff at the front desk, whether it's the front desk ladies or nurses that have been sitting up there, have been still continue to treat clients, and then answering just all kinds of questions that we get every day about orders, or what do I do about this? How can I get testing? My brother's son's uncle's father might have been exposed to COVID-19 in Walmart. What should I do? Just all kinds of questions, and they've been handling it with grace and knowledge and lots of patience and tolerance. So I wanted to formally recognize them. So after we heard the governor's presentation last night at 3 and had an opportunity to review his order, we feel at this time that it is best for Cole County to follow the governor's recommendation for the recovery plan and have our focus of the health department be on education. We want to be able to educate the public on how to adhere to the governor's orders and the governor's plan in the safest way possible. We want to be able to put out some technical advisories that will be recommended guidelines. We already have 2 almost finished. Those first 2 are, one is for hair salons and spas, and the other one is for churches. I anticipate that we will be putting one together for mass gatherings, and that might be anything from a wedding reception to a sporting event or a ball tournament. You know, we want to give the people the tools they need to do what they need to do in the safest way possible. Do you guys want to say anything?
Sounds
They're
good to me.
they're speechless.
We all agree.
And yeah, we talked among our team last night at the health department, and then I did consult with the Unified Command and our partners in the other county departments and our partners in the city, and we're all in agreement that this is the best course for Cole County at this time. I mean, we understand that the virus is here, and the stay-at-home order, the point of the stay-at-home order was never to eradicate the virus. That's impossible. The point of the stay-at-home order was to slow the spread so the healthcare system could be ready, so the public health system could be ready to do contact investigations, and that has occurred, and we will continue to monitor every case. We will continue to work with the hospitals, and if we see a surge from certain type of events, we might have to do an order and address those events specifically. But we will do a targeted approach, just as DHSS is recommending with their robust testing and aggressive testing. If there's a certain kind of outbreak, they'll go in and box in the outbreak. We intend to take that approach as well.
I really don't have any questions. We can't do anything that's gonna be any less restrictive. We can be more restrictive, but I don't think we need to be. When we get questions, and we can go to cohealth.org, and there's links on there. A lot of it's very interesting reading, but some of it's vague, and you gotta jump around to different parts to find out, so. I don't know, it's just where I direct people to is cohealth.org, or else even to the governor's office if they have a problem with the guidelines, so.
Well, and if there's an area that you think we specifically need to address, that we need to provide more tools for people, let us know, and we'll develop those materials.
Yeah, and we can see, but I mean, he really does
Right.
and address, you know, may I attend services at my place of worship? How do these guidelines apply to childcare facilities? Recreational organized activities and our camps.
Right.
I mean, really, it answers a lot of the questions, so.
And we've heard that Department of Health and Senior Services is gonna develop some guidelines for certain industries like hair salons or churches or whatever, but, you know, we've been working on those as well, so. Between the 2 agencies, I think we'll be able to cover all the bases.
I think it makes the most sense just to go with the states.
Hopefully it will not be as confusing for residents.
Yes.
And the 10% and the 25%, that basically applies to everybody? I mean,
It
churches
applies-
and stuff too?
No, it applies to retail sales. It's number 4 is any entity that employs individuals that is engaged in retail sales to the public. So there is no specific number count limit for churches. It's more about the social distancing and keeping that 6 feet away. So, like I said, and we have some guidelines that we'll provide them too on how to do those things safely.
If I read that right, though, it said recommended and guidelines, and didn't saying anything about restricted to, or, you know.
Well, the number 4 there, the number 4 of the governor's order is an actual order.
And what does the first part say about physical distancing?
It still has a 6 foot
Right.
social distancing.
Right.
Number 2 is basically any activity you would participate in has the 6 foot of distance between people.
Okay.
And then what about
You can make that. This is up to the governor to
events, indoor, outdoor events? I mean, so, volleyball tournament, other sporting activities? I mean, it's not retail, so is it just 6 feet or, so?
That is what the order says.
You still can't share equipment though, correct?
It doesn't say anything about
Yeah.
that. It's all about 6 feet distance.
Seating shall be spaced out according to social distancing requirements. This will apply to events such as amusement parks, attractions, concerts, funerals, so museums, school graduations, and weddings.
And I think
So-
that if we provided extra guidelines for things like sporting events, we would talk about extra hand sanitizer, extra disinfection, blocking off part of the seating to make sure that people are 6 feet away. Those are the type of things that we'll put in our guidelines.
And still recognizing that just because this order would be in place, it's not assuming that this virus is gone, as Christy pointed out.
Right.
So the people who are at highest risk of complications, elderly, immunocompromised, those people we would still recommend to think more seriously about all of those activities. We're not removing the risk by changing the order. We're just allowing people to safely return to their activities and giving them all the guidance and the orders that we think are necessary to do such a thing.
And those who are at higher risk have to make that decision that they need to, if they need to stay home, then they need to stay home. And still, and if they wanna wear a mask, still wear a mask, but.
And the 6-foot rule only applies to non-family members.
Correct.
Correct.
Household members.
So like in church, your family could sit together.
Correct. It'd be 6 feet from the
But then the
next.
person on either side of you should be 6 feet from you.
And 6 feet in front and back,
Yes,
Correct.
so that'd be 2 empty
Yeah,
rows probably.
correct.
And I think for sporting, and this is me, correct me if I'm wrong, Chrissy, but like for sporting, for baseball, for instance, you can't run the bases because no one can be on first base if you run toward it, they gotta be 6 feet away, so. I don't think you'd be able to do, and the reason why I bring this up specifically, because I got another question last night that I was gonna talk to you about in reference to people wanting to go ahead, they said they can play sports, so they can play baseball, and my comment was, well, as long as everyone stays 6 foot away from everybody, including when you're running bases, so I don't know how that is, if you run towards first, the first
But that one
baseman
would be prolonged exposure, so.
Right.
would
The
have
risk
to
of that
run.
way, yeah.
You have to have a helmet and a mask on.
Well, and
We
said
try to
that-
bring the
If
mask
you gotta
on.
be
to
6
approach-
foot, then you need to go into Lowe's and tell me how anybody's 6 foot. I went in there for essential business last night. My lord, you would have thought that it was coming to spring season or something, cause it was
Yeah.
crazy.
And I think one of the things we need to emphasize is how the disease is spread. And Trustee Yordana could probably talk to about, or Jen too, the 6 feet away for prolonged exposure. It's not walking by someone in Lowe's.
Right.
It's,
That prolonged exposure, that contact, that's, well, Dr. Barb and them said yesterday, they're saying 10 minutes, but 10 to 15 minutes or longer within that 6 foot distance. And I'm not trying to pick on baseball, but running bases, and you wouldn't be there that long, hopefully. Or and the fact that you're outside, that helps. Not that it's gonna, it decreases your risk as well.
I would probably be more worried about the people sitting in the stands right next to each other than the people at the bases.
Well, you're getting ready to get a question about it, so.
We'll get prepared. We'll get prepared. And then, this order that the governor, put out is in effect for the month of May.
Yeah,
I don't know if
May
people noticed that.
31st.
It expires May 31st.
So what does it say about the restaurants? Is it by 25% rule then?
No.
No.
No,
Number
no.
6 on page 2 says
Spacing.
restaurants may offer dining services, provided that the
Which
limit,
document are you on? 'Cause I'm not finding
the
that.
governor's, order.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got 6 million emails.
I
I'm trying to
know.
find that one back, so I apologize.
That's okay. It just says that, provided that the limitations on social distancing and other precautionary public measures, including proper spacing of at least 6 feet between tables, lack of communal seating areas to parties that are not connected, having no more than 10 people at a single table are properly adhered to. And they still encourage drive-through, pickup, and delivery. So this week, we will concentrate on getting some frequently asked questions and answers up on our website, trying to provide tools to the public and educate them on what this order means and how it applies to their specific business or their event.
And we still have our COVID questions, email that people can always
Yeah.
send those to us too.
So I think probably something on restaurants is gonna
Found
be
it.
critical.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
you know, I can go sit with my party at a restaurant within 6 feet, but I can't go sit with them at a baseball game. So, you know,
Well, I
I mean,
Well-
it said party, that's what you read. It said,
Uh-huh.
It
And
said
more than a
party.
party of 10.
No, it says more than 10 people at a single table.
Does it point out family members?
It
though?
does not.
Oh, okay.
It does not. Actually, I think in the frequently asked questions it does.
so,
So yeah, some guidance on that would be good.
okay.
Because I would say at a ball game, it would be the same. You could sit with your family, just like church, sit
Right.
with your family.
if you don't want to, though, you don't have to, right?
Right.
Sam-
You wanna
But Sam
tell me
couldn't go
if
have,
it's gonna
Sam
work?
and Linda couldn't go have dinner with someone else because they couldn't sit together.
Look at what they do, Lisa.
Yeah, well, they're
Go
not
out of
family.
house.
They don't live in your house.
No. But if you drink enough,
This is going
If you
downhill.
sit at a table 6 feet away, you can have dinner with them.
I hope we're not on fire.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about it going to my jail.
Who's Jeff?
Did you have any
All of a
other
sudden, that was
questions?
his Jeff.
Okay.
we're
When he
good.
needs,
I
when
do.
something's broken,
Like I
it's
said,
our
if
Jeff.
you get questions, let us know so we can make sure and we get those addressed on the website or in a technical advisory.
Well, thank y'all very much, cause
Yeah.
I've called, emailed, text, anytime I did, y'all been able to take care of it, and y'all kept the information out there, and I don't know, it seems like it's pretty simple, but it's not. So
Right.
y'all done a heck of a job, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really have. Okay. MSP redevelopment EDA grant application discussion with city officials. Are you city officials?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Matt. Did you? Then you sneezed on it?
Some extras if anybody needs them. You need to start off.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Okay, thank you. As you're aware, the MSP is currently being taken a look at for being redeveloped. The city is in the process of engaging developers, and city staff was aware of an economic development agency grant that the deadline is due May 1st. So this is a disaster recovery
Bless
grant to help with the tornado and flooding event from last year. Many of the states that's covered under the same grant, they had disasters in 2018, and we're kind of ahead of the game on applying for this grant. So we're kind of coming late to the game of applying for it. The grant is for the infrastructure of the MSP. We took a look at various plans, the original MSP redevelopment plan, the Central East Side neighborhood plan, and other planning documents, and came up with some common elements, basically the infrastructure. So Matt's city engineer, David Bangy, he drew up what looks like a very compliant, or what you might call a infrastructure network that would work with almost any plan that a developer might propose. With that, we have put together a grant application. We're still working on the budget, probably a total of, I don't know, $6 million $6 million for the total project to cover the infrastructure, extending Chestnut north, some work on Cherry Street, a new road coming in off of Lafayette, a roundabout going up to Riviera. But this would cover all the infrastructure, which would allow us to accommodate a developer coming in with whatever proposal they have, but also allow us to have pad sites ready for development. So what we've been doing is we have been in the process of gathering up letters of support. The project meets, the EDA has 6 priorities. This project actually meets 3. Project only has to meet 1. And then given the impact from the tornado to the MSP, we feel it's a good project. It's got the historic nature, it's an opportunity zone, it's in a low to moderate income area. It actually is hitting all the buttons that the EDA likes in terms of the grant. So we feel we have a pretty good grant application in the process. We're working on that actually now as we're talking. Staff is back there developing it. It is due May 1st. We've received 3 letters of support from state representatives and state senators already, and we're in the process. The mayor's out there soliciting more letters of support, and that's why we're here today. Glad to answer any questions, or Matt would be glad to answer any questions too.
So you're not asking for, we've got the $1 million set
We
aside
do.
for the parkway.
So-
That's, you're not asking,
Not
you're
at
saying
this
$6
point.
million. You're not here saying,
I'm
Well-
sure we will.
Well,
we don't have any.
so there's a lot of fingers in this grant application, and we were just kind of tasked with doing this so that, we talked to Eric, I think, early on, but, once, I was looking at it yesterday with the group and saying, well, really all we want at this point is like the county to, and I gave Eric a copy of Dave Griffith's letter, for example, to include in the packet that, you're excited about this opportunity for the county and things like that. And then, so anyway, basically the grant, we have the money in the sales tax if that's the way we choose to go or not. That we can decide that later. If we get the grant, we don't know if we'll get it all. We're kind of shooting high here. So I think Sonny's been told by various other planning groups that $6 million is about the maximum grant they've ever awarded. So that's where we're kind of at. That would be about a $1.2 million match. And I'm talking round numbers right now. They're still chugging them out. But if you want me to go through the plan a little bit, I can for you. Just basically, this is a combination of a lot of different plans. It goes back to the original master plan for MSP. So like this road going up the hill, hold it up. So the road with the roundabout going up the hill like that, that's something the state desired long ago. And so we tried to put this in a location that this actually works with grades and things like that. And you can see this leg here is the future Clark extension is what that is for. And so that was a different master plan come along a little bit later through a traffic study. And so anyway, and then we took, of course, some of the developer's ideas. He had a little different scheme here, but we thought, well, this is more feasible to build kind of where the road is now going up the hill, where the old baseball diamond area was. And I think we've taken a bus up that hill before. But anyway, so we bent it down there. What we did, you've probably heard Randy Allen talk about, well, the cul-de-sac wasn't far enough when we built that. Well, we did it that way on purpose because it was very difficult to build the way the master plan showed. So by punching the road in, we don't have to fool with Lafayette anymore here. It's my understanding some state officials have seen, other state OA types have seen this and they're on board with some of this. So there's more things here. So this is a big grant opportunity. One of the things in the grant, I think, the agency EDA wanted to see is that there is some commitment. So if they were to fund something like this, the idea is the convention center part of that money would have to build that convention center or some other funds, but we're agreeing to commit to that at least. And so again, these are pad sites. So think of it as a subdivision for houses. It's a commercial subdivision, but what we're applying for is all the roads, the infrastructure such as like water, sewer, stormwater detentions in that number, basically all the infrastructure. So we have these ready-made pad sites that we can then solicit folks and say, okay, hey, if we're gonna build this subdivision and this convention center, what's the proposal for a hotel right beside it? What's the proposal for this blue lot over here? It's just a pad site now. We can advertise that. So am I giving you enough information or too much? So the idea is, to go for this grant. It's a big number and see what is available. So what happened was some of the planning partners up in Ashland,
Mid-Missouri Regional Planning.
Mid-Mo Regional Planning said, hey, I'm getting word from EDA that there isn't any grant money flowing into Missouri. It's all going up to Iowa, Nebraska, places like that. And so people are saying, well, what happened in Missouri, you know? Nobody's applying for this stuff, so we kind of gathered our stuff very quickly and put a little proposal together. Actually met with the folks from
The Denver office.
Denver office. They had their engineer and their director come down and a couple other people, I believe. And so we kind of, you know, told them about MSP. I think Diane's here, right? Oh, she already left. Anyway, she went with us and we and talked to them about it. They all liked the proposal, so then we had to go back and refine it and do the numbers and everything. So that's what we're doing now. So.
And one of the things that's kind of quirky is it may sound like we're getting the cart before the horse and making these best guesses or assumptions, if you will. But the EDA is aware that we have a deadline of July to select a developer. They are aware that we don't have all the preliminary engineering done. There's environmental things we have to work on, and they're fine with that. They said as long as we get the initial application in by May 1st, as things develop, we can update them on that. They're probably not going to award this till late summer or early fall. They know we have an agreement with the state on the property transfer to select a developer by July. So they know it's kind of a moving target, but they really encouraged us to get something in. So that's why we're not sure which developer or what it's going to look like, but the commonality is a lot of this infrastructure. So some of this can be tweaked one way or another once, I guess, the surveyors and engineers get out there and actually take some of the...
So you're just asking Dave for a letter of support?
Right now.
I
It's
think that
gotta
would
be
be-
made by May 1st?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I understand a funding agreement and all that takes so much time,
Yeah.
you know, it's not very feasible to try that. And we don't really know if we're even getting awarded at this point.
Yeah, we're just, want to be sure we don't miss the opportunity. The grant is an 80-20 grant. These grants, while they have a program that's not disaster related, are normally a 50-50 match. So we were really excited about, a $6 million project getting 80% of that funded as opposed to just 50-50.
And quite frankly, our 2 million that we normally talk about, it doesn't do what, it's difficult to get this level of development without some kind of a grant, And so it's a good opportunity for the city and county, so.
So the development agreement with the state says that we have to select a developer by July of 2020. That's this July?
Yes, sir. There is I believe, not the attorney for the city,
Right.
but I believe there is a provision that allows us to request a one-year extension.
I see.
And I believe there's been some discussions in public about selecting a developer at the city council level. So I think we're still moving forward, hopefully trying to consider making a decision by July.
And then what's the timeline on spending the EDA funds once awarded?
I'm not sure.
I think we actually are looking at, if everything went smooth,
Mhm.
there's still a lot of engineering work. We're looking at 21 or 22. I think we have to break ground, is it 1 year after? or
Well, that's
2
a
years
state
after?
requirement.
That's a
right?
state, but
Yeah.
the EDA is aware of our state commitments in terms of when we break ground and everything like that. I don't recall if that's by 2022 of July, if it's 2 years after we select the developer
Right.
or what, but the EDA is aware that these projects take a long period of time. And that was
Well,
not an issue with them.
And this one will, because some of this, the state's gonna have to, grant some easements or right-of-way for this, in addition to what they already did. That, like this road up the hill, they would like this road because it opens up some area for them and connects their DNR building to this area. So that was out of their previous master plan, but that's not, we don't have that ground. We don't have the ground over here by this cul-de-sac here either, so they'll have to grant some of that. So a lot of this grant too is for removals and clearing, if you will, is the terms we normally talk about in engineering stuff. But, basically, we're looking at things like leveling up, like this pad over here, and leveling up in that grant. So getting these things really, if you will, subdivision ready, for folks. And so hopefully that all works out. So it's a big number. That's why the number's so large too. It's a rugged site, as you all know.
So roughly 2 years to spend the EDA funds once awarded would be a pretty good guess.
Yeah, I believe it's a reimbursement program. So
Yeah,
it-
if you're, like most of these things, if you're making good progress or you have contracts out, like I said, a lot of pieces gotta fall in place to make this happen, so it's not it's not a guaranteed thing like anything, but, it's one of our best opportunities here to get MSP going, I think. that I've seen since I've worked here.
I'm fine with writing a letter. I don't,
Yeah, I'm good too.
Yeah, I'm fine with writing a letter, and I'd like the idea that we only have the 1.2 million match. That gives us a little bit to play with.
Right, we have still reserved in the sales tax between the both of us, so I think it's 1.6 million, is that right? Yeah, for city and county funds, so,
Yeah, we still got our
So we-
million in there, and then.
yeah, and then we still have some
whatever
as
y'all have
well.
left.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and so that's another good thing, not to overshoot that, obviously, and give us a little buffer as well.
So would this probably help the developers then, because they actually would have a part of the puzzle here says, this is where we're gonna do the roads essentially?
Yeah, I mean, if this
Make
go,
the best
if,
fit?
yeah, if this goes in, I mean, and let's be honest, we stole some of this from the developers submittal that submitted on the conference center, although, you know, there was a stipend paid for that, so the city would own the documents. And just like we own the documents from the previous submittals over here off Broadway, when that was done, we paid a small stipend to own those projects. So we obviously stole some of this from them, or a good chunk of it, but we also took some liberties with it then as well. So, you know, when sitting through those discussions, you all were there sometimes too. But some of that is that, you know, they were basically focused, at least that group was focused on the conference center and hotel, and not, they were looking for other people to build infrastructure. And that seems to be always the case when we get into these things. And so this is a way for us to get that.
So question concerning the layout of the roads and everything. As the developer is selected, the project progresses, that could be tweaked.
Oh, yeah.
Match a little closer to what the development would, and it wouldn't violate the EDA grant, correct?
I wouldn't think so, unless the spirit's there, you know, with most things, you know, if we run into a historic issue because of, you know, this is federal money, so there's a lot of strings attached. Just let's say you can't put the road here for some reason, from some environmental impact statement. Well, if we can wiggle it around, we did it this way because it was the path of least resistance. You know, the developer had a proposal what had come out here, you know, well, we are, the city and county, when we did this project, we built a stub there for a road to extend, but, you know, is it really, this is more practical, a little more cost feasible, so. And the state requirement, so then again, on the state requirement, if you go back to that document, they want to be able to way to get from Lafayette down to Chestnut. Well, we got it on the map now, so we have a road there. So that satisfies them. Kind of sweetening the deal with the state is this, you know, big roundabout that was out of their original master plan, which really wasn't even discussed in any of these development proposals. This is kind of a state master plan side of this over here with the greenway and everything you can see wiggling up the hill. So kind of, we're trying to satisfy all these different folks at the same time.
You want the letter to you, guy? Just-
Send-
Yes, you can, I believe the template was addressed to the mayor. Is that, we'll,
Whatever the template.
We'll provide your staff a template.
Okay,
And I believe they may be addressed to the Division Director, Angela Martinez,
Okay.
out in Denver. I'm not quite sure.
yeah, yep, okay.
I don't have that with me right now.
I move that we sign a letter of support for the MSP EDA grant application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Hey, can I ask y'all a question while you're still here? You should have ran. How's the Dunklin Clark roundabout things? Is that still progressing, or is any of that been pulled off? the
Well, we had a
table?
meeting recently. I didn't get to attend. I think you were there.
Yeah,
weren't
it
you?
was a video meeting or whatever with Bartlett West, MoDOT. I was on, city, David was on with that, and there've been a few others. Basically just kind of a kickoff, not kickoff, but an update on where the design was. A lot of questions for MoDOT as far as what we can do on the right of way, what we can't, things like that.
So it's still
progressing.
moving forward?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Nobody's canned it yet.
Okay. So I didn't know with all this stuff going on. I guess. that
Well,
was
we
my
don't know
question.
either. I mean,
No,
let's be
it's-
honest about it. You know, we're going, I think at some point though, it seems to me a good idea if we could get something shovel-ready though. You know, there's a lot of people looking for other monies too, whether it comes out of that pool or another pool. Seems like we'd be pretty far along in the line.
Yeah, they're still on
Okay.
target for whatever the letting date was, it's still, nothing's pushed back.
How we coming on East High?
Slow but sure, obviously with this issue, unbelievably, there was a sewer pipe issue, getting sewer pipe supplied. And so anyway, they got enough, went and got them a truckload to keep them busy, and I guess they're working that out as they go, but I suspect hitting big snags other than, the water company with COVID too, they had some issues about replacing service lines, which slows down the sewer line and that kind of stuff, that always happens, but, so the whole COVID thing's throwing another layer on there of potential delays, but we're just working through them as we go, and I haven't hit any big snags yet.
Say we called school off just so you could work there.
I mean, it's great, isn't
Come on,
it?
guys.
The first call we made was to, farmers and Eddie Welsh, and said, are you making sure the quarries are open and the concrete plant's working? Because that's gonna be the big thing, and they are, so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Sure.
You're welcome to stay.
You guys got the heater turned up in here.
Yeah.
Sweat this out.
See you here.
Co-
Sent you Angela's
Commission appointments to
address.
boards and committees.
Okay.
I think we'll do them all. Appointment of Stacy Fick to the Missouri River Region Library Board. Reappointment of Chris Henley, Roger Schwartz, Doug Schmetzkowski to the Cole County Special Services Board. And I have those court orders here.
I'm fine with them all. We had gotten them previously in emails and saw everything. So, if you had anything with it, Chris, are you good with them?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, Eric.
I'm gonna do all these at once, Lynn.
Yep.
I move that we sign the court order for Stacy Fick to the Missouri River Regional Library, for Chris Henley to Cole County Special Services, for Roger Schwartz for Cole County Special Services, and Doug Schemenkowski to Cole County Special Services Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any commission comments? Bids and contracts, signing of Agtera Technologies sole source for spray lager.
This sole source was advertised, and it's just signing of the sole source.
I move that we sign the sole source advertisement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Signing of 2020-14 inmate welfare products contract with Bob Barker.
This is the one you approved last week. This is just the contract to give it to Bob.
I move that we sign a contract with Bob Barker.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Signing of PPE decontamination agreement.
So this is the agreement that we would enter into, I believe it's Intel. It's a process where we can try to decontaminate our N95s for up to 20 uses. While we're not in a position now that we would need to do this, should we ever get into a spot, we would like to have this agreement. It basically is to waive the liability, et cetera, on that. It's located here in Jeff City, became operational, I believe, on Sunday. So it would cover the health department, EMS, and the sheriff's department under this agreement.
So it just decontaminates the max? so
It
you
does,
can
it puts it
reuse
through a hydrogen peroxide-based type of fogger or whatever, and gets put in there. It takes about 3 days or so to turn it around. So there's some logistical pieces to it, but it's free to have performed currently.
And we're not throwing them away.
Is this somebody else that's doing this, or?
So FEMA has Intel is the name of the system and company doing it. And so, like I said, it's located here in Jeff City currently for the state. I think it's the only one in the state currently. So it's a last resort because obviously as long as we have PPE, we don't want to take any unnecessary risks. But we do want to have this in place should we have an issue.
Takes 3 days to do a whole bunch of them, or?
It takes 3 day turnaround, so
Oh.
I think it takes 10 or 15 minutes for them to actually
I
perform
see.
the decontamination, but the
I was
turnaround is about 70
curious.
seconds.
I'd like to see the process too. I mean, it
Yeah,
just-
cause it's kind of a heavy-duty paper mass, for better terms, with a little thing on it.
So I don't know if I call it paper, it's more of a woven cotton type, mask. So, you know, again, this is a last resort, so,
Okay. Cost,
free.
that,
Mm-hmm.
Well, why didn't you
Free.
say so?
I did, I started with that.
did you?
I did.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Matt tried to get him to
Wasn't
pay
paying
us, but
attention,
they didn't.
yeah.
Right.
All right, I move that we sign the personal protective equipment decontamination services agreement with
It's Battelle.
Patel,
B-A-T-T.
Patel Critical Care.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any unfinished business? New business, accounts payable review,
We don't have any accounts payable this time.
signing of surplus title.
This is a 2013 Dodge. The sheriff's department would like to sell that vehicle for surplus.
The one got totaled, or
No, this is a different one.
just different one?
Yeah, it's a regular.
I move that we sign the surplus title.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion of health department roof.
As you guys know, we had the hail damage that hit our
Good,
health
Sheriff.
department.
Thanks.
The gentleman came and inspected it. I turned over all that information to you guys about what they were willing to pay after depreciation. So I'm just here asking, do we want to bid out for a new roof, or do we just want to repair what is there?
Wasn't that the bid was for replacement? I don't have that in front of me, it wasn't, I'll have to, I can dig that up,
And I think Greg's suggestion would be to replace.
I think.
It's gone.
So,
Yeah, step on up to the table, Grady. Your moment in the limelight.
so let's talk a little bit about what repair or replace means. Are you talking just rubber roofing? Are you talking styrofoam underneath, or?
That roof, has got two roofs on it. It's got a asphalt tar roof on it, on half of it, and a rubber roof on the other half. When I was up there with the insurance guys, the insulation underneath has, been compromised from the hail on
Okay.
the asphalt part. On the rubber side, it's not as bad, but if we do it, we might as well do it all, and just put all the same, put more insulation up there so we can get a better insulation on that roof anyways. There's not much there as it is. From what I've been able to find on old prints that we got from previous people, there's like maybe 2 inches of foam up there, and that's it. Suggestion, we just bid it at 4 inches. I've been talking with a couple roofers already in town, Missouri Builders and Weathercraft, about the recommendations on what to do. There is, 5 skylights, 6 skylights that we would not have to replace, that we would just do away with instead of repairing. All the sheet metal around on the coping is all beat up. Sheet metal on the front canopy is beat up. Gutters are beat up. Insurance guys are expecting to see holes as bad as the roof looks. They didn't find any holes, thank God.
So the gutter and everything is
Everything
covered
got
by?
hit. Everything
it's-
got hit.
But that's covered,
Yes, that's all in
okay, okay,
in the scope of the work.
okay.
One thing that was not in the scope of work, and they also recommended, is the gas pipe was just laid right on top of the roof, which we'll have to just cut and, move up and put extensions underneath it once they get done with the roof, which is not a real big thing, not a big chore.
What was the deductible on that, Debbie? 5,000?
5.
And then what was the amount they were gonna pay?
Actually, I got a check for the first part, $103,483.12. And then the depreciation amount, maybe after we finish it, was another $40,000.
Yeah, right around 150,000.
Um,
I'm still waiting to, we did the IRF the other night on the jail roof. We found another 20 holes, by using their machine. They were gonna talk to their company, was gonna talk to them, they were gonna talk to Versico, and that's the last I've heard.
I've heard no more either of that chain. So I assume we'll be getting back with Travelers before long.
And I, like I said, we've gone from 30 holes to 500 holes now.
Yeah,
Where do we stop?
I mean, in my opinion, I just think we bid them both together and replace them both. I mean, so obviously the law enforcement building's different than the health department building, because I think we can just maybe even go over some of the existing rubber, and with new.
Yeah.
And not have to replace the insulation. But, I mean, you know, if we do a bigger project, maybe we get more bids and we get a better price, so.
yeah.
And they both need to be fixed.
Yeah.
So are we okay with the rubber roof on all of it, or?
I'd have to see what, Missouri Builders, and if they can glue down to that roof, that's there. A lot of times they don't like doing that because it gets chalky and the old rubber roof won't adhere too well. Just have to see. I don't know how old that is.
On, what are you talking about? On health or?
Health. Now, this one over here, they can glue down to.
So wouldn't they take the asphalt part off of the health building and put just?
Yeah, they'll put it's foam back down and
Right.
rubber roof down, glue down.
I mean, they'll take the whole roof off and
Yeah.
basically put a new one on.
Yeah.
So does that become an issue out there then? I mean, they're taking it all off and
No.
remove and replace the whole thing.
Yeah, remove and replace that one out there, yes.
Okay. So
I'm
then
trying
there's,
to
then there's
keep
no
up
issues.
with-
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that one out there's gotta be removed and replaced.
Right.
This one over here can be re-glued down.
So
Right.
their estimate is on replace, because on the settlement sheet, it says full cost of repair or replacement.
Yes,
Yes, it's for replacement.
yes. Tear off and replace.
I wouldn't bet they'd cover it.
They're still gonna have this, that same amount, unless, depending on what the bids come back at. I'm sure the bids will be higher.
Right, yeah, I don't think that the 140 or 50,000 is gonna cover the full cost.
No.
If it's a total loss though, it should. That's why I'm asking if it's a repair or replacement. If they're gonna replace it, then we should get the actual cash value less the depreciated amount, but then once it's done, we get our depreciated amount paid. So it should cover it. That's why I'm curious if this is for repair or replacement, but you're saying replacement.
It's all replacement.
So then that should be pretty close, and if it comes in over that, we can show them our numbers and say, hey, your adjuster was off. So,
Can try.
same way with your own house, if you come in there and you get bids that are more than that, then you gotta deal with your adjuster and the agents, and so.
But we are changing it a little bit too, if we're gonna put the same type of roof over all of it.
Well, you've got the asphalt, which is a 3-foot wide strip that you have to heat torch down versus just gluing it down and going. So there might be a little savings there.
Yeah, if you're doing something different, I understand there being a different cost, just like the skylights, there was $9 grand in there or something for replacing the skylights. Well, if it's cheaper to not do them, then we'll just, it won't be as much, so.
Well, we'll get them bid, on the same bid, but separate, obviously, because they're two different types of.
Okay, so I'm staying on the health department building right now. So how are you gonna bid it?
Complete tear off and redo.
All,
With rubber roof?
all rubber, or are you
Yep,
gonna,
all rubber.
you gonna have different options?
No, I'm
They-
doing rubber, 60 mil
Okay.
rubber,
Okay,
With 4 inches of styrofoam.
4 inches styrofoam,
okay.
tapered to the drains.
And then are we gonna bid that as, like an alternate to doing both,
Yeah, we can,
one or both, or?
one or both buildings, yeah.
I don't know if it'll make a difference or not. Just-
It might,
Yeah.
I know we've done it, for several of these roofs, we've done it that way. Company got 2 of them, and the other company got the third one, so.
I mean, you can bid, I mean, they're gonna separate the bids, but if you let them know that the intent is to replace both, and I mean, I think we need to replace both. We're gonna try to award them to one vendor. but-
Correct, I think both of them need to be replaced.
Right.
But if somebody says, look, we're not set up to do something like the jail, but we can do the health department cheaper and, you know, maybe we can get a better deal, but if somebody else comes in and says, look, I'll give you a better deal if I know I'm getting both. So it may be X amount of dollars and Y amount of dollars, and then for both of them, it's gonna be X plus Y minus whatever.
I just think that we need to be clear on what we're gonna do. Are we gonna, I mean, are we gonna try to piecemeal it? And, you know, we're gonna bid them separate and then we can award each to the low bidder? Or are we gonna try to bid them as a group and say low bidder on both of them is who we're going with?
I'd say give me a bid for the jail, give me a bid for health, and then give me a bid for both of
Yeah.
them together. And
Yeah,
Yeah, we've done that in the past.
So combined
Yeah.
proposal.
yeah, and if they give us, you know, A and B, we can just add them together, or if they wanna give us a, you know, look, hey, yeah, if we're gonna get both of them, we'll give you
well,
a.
knock off so many $1,000.
I'm good with that, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
just as long as they understand, you know, hey, here's my price for
Yeah.
both, and, but we could shop it and award one to one company and one to another.
Then it becomes the timing, you know, are you anxious to get them both done at the same time, or you one can wait till the other one's done, you know, so.
Well, we got holes in both, and I'd say timing is of the essence.
Yeah, we've been
but if
farting
the
around with the
company's
jail
gonna
roof
be
now
the same,
for,
it's gonna take a little while.
Right. I
Almost
mean, I
a
get,
year.
yeah, somebody's not gonna may not have a crew to do both of them at the same time.
As far
Well,
as,
as for the days,
as far as that goes, let's start with the health first, it's the worst one. We've gotten the sheriff's department pretty well dried in.
we'll just ask for the days, how long it would take.
we got all these roofers here in Jeff City. I mean,
They're all busy.
So, obviously, so we get it out for bid, we're almost May 1st, so we gotta advertise for what,
3
30
weeks?
days.
3 weeks?
30 days from the
30
time it
days.
starts to.
Okay, so the end of May, possible award first week of June,
Yeah, somewhere in there.
and then, start date would be maybe July 1.
Hopefully, like you said, it's hard to find roofers right now.
That, and you're gonna have to order all, the skylights will keep, they're gonna have to order those, I don't know what the lead time is on those may be 5 to 6 weeks too, so.
But obviously, if they got awarded in June 1st, and then they ordered them,
Yeah,
you know,
July 1st, yeah.
anticipate the start date July 1st or July 15th or whenever. Yes.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, but they're gonna wanna kinda know that too, and then time of completion.
I would say 30 days would be plenty on the health,
Well, that's if they can start July 15th.
yeah.
So,
Health is probably 30 days, and the jail is probably, you're looking probably 60 to 80 days for those 3 roofs.
okay,
And we'll get started on it then.
yeah, those are gonna be the questions you're gonna get asked is, when do I have to start, when do I have to have it done? So. Okay, give you enough information?
Yep,
Awesome.
how'd it go this morning?
went fine, he said he's gonna talk to you, so
Showed the old health department today.
said something about maybe doing the 60-day or something. I'll leave that up to you all.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, are you gonna get the clerk to come over, or?
Well, I just did text.
Oh.
I've got the document.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks. Skip down to the next one.
Okay. HHS provider release payment. We're gonna do this quick, right?
So, under the CARES Act, on April 10th, we received a payment from Health and Human Services. It was based on a percentage of our Medicare billings from the previous year. The actual amount.
$78,781.06.
We have taken the last 2 weeks to kind of do our homework and make sure, because you have to sign an acceptance of this payment and agree to not.
So third-party billing, you can't, if it's a patient that's suspected of having COVID or diagnosed with COVID, you cannot, on third-party, go after the remaining balance that, beyond what insurance pays.
And we just wanted to make sure that we could use it for lost revenue and things that we saw that we needed the funds for. We've determined since then that we think we should accept it. We just want your guys' opinion and okay to accept those funds. And there is a second round of money available that we would like to apply for.
But we can't apply for the second round until we accept the first round.
Okay, yeah, we talked to Chief Collin yesterday, explained it. I don't have any questions, I think it ultimately came to, yeah, let's accept it, so I'm good with it.
I'm good too.
Do we need to sign something?
It's an actual electronic approval, so if you give him the authority to go out and
Okay.
electronically approve.
I
And
move
then
that we
also-
sign or approve the HHS release payment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then I need your approval to go out and apply for the second round. And that money is drying up, so I do need to move on that.
I move that we apply for the HHS second round of payments.
Second round of the CARES Act
Yeah.
payment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Gosh, less than 4 minutes.
Okay, Steve, you're up.
I'll take less than that. I just want to present my annual precinct report.
Okay.
The only thing we made changes to was Community Christian Church, because it was hit by the tornado, so we had to get out. They're still remodeling it. So we moved over to Cannon Bridge, Knights of Columbus Hall. Worked out real well. They were real welcoming. Glad to have it, so.
Good.
Most times we don't get that, so.
Okay.
I sent you all a copy,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I'll give this to
Thank you.
Lynn for the records.
Okay.
I can work over there and I'll just go to the bar and,
I don't know if we can pay them high salary.
Hmm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
thank
We
you,
need
sir.
to vote on that, or?
Do we just accept it?
I think you just accept it.
Okay,
Yeah.
He doesn't have to sign it or anything. Thanks.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Going through some old emails trying to see, I don't see anything else.
I did receive a call on the bathrooms at County Park. There were over 100 people out there last weekend. I hope they were socially distanced, but our bathrooms are locked. And so they called the Public Works, and Public Works said the commission needs to tell them when to open the bathrooms.
We usually go from Labor Day to Memorial Day kind of thing, so I think, so that's probably why they're not open.
So they're not closed because of the COVID?
I don't think so. I'd have to check with Larry to make sure. The bathrooms at
Well,
county.
it's a hole. There's no water, there's no sink, there's nothing there. I mean, it's, huh?
Stainless steel sink and, by the fishing dock?
Yeah,
I thought there was.
I thought it was just a toilet.
It's been a while, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm almost positive we pay water though.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, but there's,
You know.
I know there was water up by the pavilion, and a meter and stuff, but I didn't think there was a sink in there, but I mean, it's probably not the most sanitary place to go to the bathroom. And there isn't gonna be hand sanitizer, and there may not be paper towels, and toilet paper may get stolen.
Well, if we normally don't do it, if we normally don't.
I mean, I'm
open it
fine with
till
opening it up. but,
Memorial weekend and
I mean,
say,
I just-
Well, we need to, I guess, figure that out. If it can be opened, then do we wanna open it? But, bless you.
I think I'm sick.
But I
I'm
mean,
gonna
I
go
think
home.
a lot more people are gonna use it, you know, in early spring and stuff, and not just Memorial Day on. So I would think it would be open.
Yeah, I didn't think that they ever really closed, but anyway,
Are they closed currently because of COVID? I mean.
I don't know.
Probably close it to keep the toilet paper from being stolen.
I don't know that.
I know they've got the playground area closed off or taped off or something to keep kids off of it.
You find out, let me know, will you?
But at what point do you open it back up? I mean, you could
Sure. Beneficial.
go anywhere and use their bathrooms in a public place, and, you know, we're not gonna be out there till we put a sign on it, enter at own risk, and
Please, thank you.
desanitize when you're done.
Right.
Ultimately, I would think it's their responsibility to take care of themselves,
Use the tree at the end of the lake.
so.
Hey, we're in the county. We're not in the city.
I mean, you're either gonna use it there, or you're gonna drive up the street a mile and a half and use the convenience
station,
store
yeah.
where the other 250 people per hour are using it.
Yeah.
So,
What'd you find out?
Larry was gonna check with Larry Bishop. He didn't know if the bathrooms were open yet and what they do, so he's gonna check and call me back.
I think open them up, and maybe we put a sign on there with some kind of guidelines, say, like, wash your hands, and, well, there's probably no water there, but bring your own disinfectant.
Yeah.
BYOTP.
No,
I don't wanna
that's-
be supplying that either.
I think that's what probably
Not
would
worried about that. There
disappear.
never was a shortage of that. It was such a farce.
Yeah,
I know, but it's hard to find, unfortunately.
okay.
Why was everybody out of it all of a sudden? If I get below like 62 rolls at home, I'm buying some more anyway, but, so I was able to make it. I wasn't worried about it. I would've loaned you some if you ran out.
I'm buy it when it's on sale.
Well, we'll wait till we hear back from Larry and Larry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with opening it
And then
up,
just
too.
open it
You're good with it, okay.
when,
I'll
yeah.
ask.
Put a letter or a piece of paper on it or something that says, you know,
Hygiene?
yeah.
Yeah,
This bathroom's not cleaned frequently, use at your own risk.
Please use common sense.
If you want a clean bathroom, please bring your cleaning supplies with you.
okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
I mean, we go into closed session pursuant to section 610.021, the revised statutes of Missouri for personnel issues sub 13.
Second.
Roll call?
Sam?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.